The New England Patriots beat the Buffalo Bills 23-20 on Sunday Night Football in Week 5. And a lot of people are thinking about it as the game in which quarterback Drake May arrived. This was his coming out party. And in many ways it was. There are tons of videos that are going to detail how well Drake May played. But to me, this is a culture win, a process win. Proof that the plan in New England is working. This has been an offseason of overhaul, eradicating the old ways and ushering in the new. Let's dig into what the Patriots did to show that they're building it the right way. You're watching Light Boxes, a football show that helps you think outside the box about the NFL. I'm your host, Rob Ballantine, and this is the Spotlight series, where I cover just one key performance from the previous week and talk about what it might mean for that team going forward. Before I shine a light on the New England Patriots, it would mean the world to me if you like the video and subscribe to this channel. Doing those things helps the algorithm show this video and my other videos to more NFL fans just like you. All right, let's dive into the New England Patriots. It all starts with Mike Vrabel's coaching. This was a vintage Vrabel type of game. His Tennessee Titans teams were famous for dragging their opponents down into the muck with them, hanging in and winning close games from there. And this was no different. They forced an interception from Josh Allen, as well as recovering 2 fumbles, although one of them was gifted to the Patriots by a miscommunication between Allen and the tight end Dawson Knox. But more specifically, I really love how Vrabel's been handling the fumbling issues of his own lead running back, Rhamondre Stevenson. Stevenson had 2 critical fumbles, one of which was near the goal line in a 21-14 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 3. And Rhamondre had 7 fumbles in 2024 before Vrabel got there, so it'd be easy for the coach to push the running back aside since these fumbling issues are continuing into 2025. There's outside pressure for Vrabel to do this, not only from Pats fans, but from the fantasy football community as a whole. Rookie running back TreVeyon Henderson was picked with the 38th selection this year. He only had 2 fumbles in his Ohio State college career, and he didn't lose either of them. And he's a more electric talent who's more prone to hit home runs in the running game. So the fans, not only of the Pats, but the people who have TreVeyon Henderson on their fantasy teams, want to see TreVeyon Henderson's workload go up. But Vrabel knows this is a long season, and the rookie needs to be brought along at the correct pace. A knee-jerk reaction of burying Stevenson on the depth chart and elevating Henderson wouldn't be the right move, not for the culture of the team, nor for the outlook of the running back room throughout 2025. Vrabel spoke to the media and said that Rhamondre's still our guy. He's got to get this cleaned up, but he believes in the player. Flash forward to this Bills game, when Rhamondre fumbles the ball yet again. Only one play after the Bills fumbled it to the Pats to begin with, and that really puts Vrabel's patience and belief to the test. But this wasn't a careless fumble. There wasn't anything about it that seemed reckless to me from a ball security standpoint, and I think Vrabel knew that too. Rhamondre has just caught a short pass, he's turned upfield, he gets tripped up by one Bills defender, and he starts going straight down. A second Bills defender, linebacker Terrell Bernard, makes an incredible play, leaping over Rhamondre from the right side to the left, punching down at the ball at the very last second. That's just a really good play, and I don't think Rhamondre was doing anything egregious to not protect the ball there. Vrabel understands the nature of this fumble and doesn't give Rhamondre the axe as a result. Obviously, this is now the thinnest of ice, but Vrabel and the staff work Rhamondre back into the game slowly. By the second half, they're using him in the low red zone, the same place where his most critical fumble against the Steelers occurred. They get not 1, but 2 rushing touchdowns out of Rhamondre, and those are the only touchdowns that the Pats score all night. The second of his rushing touchdowns was on a pitch play, which isn't exactly the type of play you call if you're really worried about the ball security of the player. There's just too much that could go wrong. He could have another embarrassing bobble on national television, and then you have to shelve him just because of the undue pressure from the outside. Vrabel says, we believe in our guy, they run the pitch play, he scores the touchdown. This is the coaching staff showing not only us, but the player himself that they believe in him, not only through words, but through play calling. That's coaching. Mike Vrabel is a massive upgraded head coach over Jerod Mayo. That part of the plan is working. Another part of the plan that's working really well, the decisions they made in free agency this offseason, who they brought in to fill holes on this roster. It starts up front on defense. Their biggest allocation of free agency dollars went to Milton Williams from the Eagles, the defensive tackle, to come in with their other defensive tackle, Christian Barmore, and make a fearsome duo on the interior. They had a really nice night pass rushing against Buffalo. Barmore had 7 pressures, and including a QB hit, and Milton Williams had 5 pressures and contributed to the only sack of Josh Allen, who's a notably difficult QB to sack. When you remove players who just blitzed once or twice, Barmore and Williams accounted for the 2 best pass rushing grades on the team that night per PFF. But with the money that they spend on Barmore and the new money they allocated to Williams, they spend 17% of their salary cap on their top 2 defensive tackles. I mentioned this in my offseason preview of the Patriots back in July, that this was by far the highest cap percentage to 2 defensive tackles for any team in the league, and I wondered how that made sense with their build. I didn't say it would necessarily be a bad thing, but it was a curiosity of mine, and I actually framed it more around the running game. I thought, you're putting some beef in the interior, that's going to handle the run for you, but what are you doing pass rush wise? Because the edge rush is usually where teams spend more of their money to get good pass rushing. It's actually the inverse issue. Barmore and Williams have both been subpar against the run this season. Their PFF run defense grades trail massively behind their pass rush grades. But it seems I didn't take enough stock in another complimentary free agency decision. They signed linebacker Robert Spillane from the Raiders. He's been the team's best run defender by far, and he's the 6th highest graded run defending linebacker in the entire NFL. Spillane was flying all over the field, making tackles and cleaning things up for the defensive line. This allows Barmore and Williams to just focus on what they do best, getting into the backfield and finding the quarterback instead of having to eat blocks in the run game. Bills star running back James Cook had his worst game of the year, with only 49 yards rushing and his season worst 3.3 yards per carry, and he didn't have a single run of 10 plus yards. Quarterback Josh Allen, who's usually a threat on the ground, was relatively neutralized too. It's just a really cool symbiosis going on between linebacker Robert Spillane and this defensive tackle duo. And they went over the top of Carolina to make sure Milton Williams got in the building. So this was clearly the plan, the vision that Mike Vrabel and the front office had when they made these signings. Hats off to them. Lastly, I can't compliment their free agency haul without mentioning wide receiver Stephon Diggs. He had a monster game, tallying 10 catches for 146 yards and making multiple sideline toe tap grabs that moved the chains while Drake May was extending the play. As impressive as those plays were, I was also really pleased to see the number of plays he made within the rhythm of the offense. This is a new offense for him, and don't forget, he tore his ACL October 27th, 2024, less than a year ago. So not only is he learning a new offense all offseason, but he's also rehabbing his knee throughout that time. To be a serviceable starter this early into the season with a new team coming off that injury, that would be amazing enough. But this is his 2nd straight game going over 100 yards, and the Pats seemingly have found a number 1 guy for Drake May, at least for this year. Let's hope he stays healthy and keeps balling out, because this is a lot of fun to watch. It's too early to say the Pats are here. There's too many holes on the roster still that they're working around, and Drake May is a young quarterback. But the plan is working so far, and the future is bright. Nothing proves that more than a statement win against a division rival. The division rival who's held the division hostage since the Patriots gave it up when Tom Brady left. Now it's time for the hidden gem of the week, where I just talk about something else, something silly, funny, peculiar that happened in the previous week as a thank you for staying to the end of this video. The Commanders ended up beating the Chargers 27-10, but that game started with a 10-0 Chargers first quarter, and the half ended tied at 10. So the Commanders ran away with the game in the second half, mostly because the second level of the Chargers defense just couldn't tackle it all. The Commanders have a lot of tough ball carriers in Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and Jeremy McNichols, and from the wide receiver position, Deebo Samuel, and they use a lot of horizontal momentum to make the angles hard on the linebackers. One of those linebackers is named Troy Dye, and this was not entirely Dye's fault. There were plenty of team issues here, but at one point, Tom Brady, who's on the broadcast, is recapping a play, and in slow motion, the play is moving, and he goes, "Watch the linebacker die." And I just thought that was emblematic of how the Chargers defense played. The linebackers were dying out there, and that was a silly moment that I enjoyed. That's our show today. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Spotlight series. If you enjoyed it, again, it means everything to me if you like and subscribe. Doing these things help grow the channel. This is Light Boxes. I'm Rob Ballantine. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.